Are we live or what?
I think
Or
so.
no?
I think so.
Alrighty, yay! Let's see if I can uh, bring up Facebook because if this phone keeps tripping, we're gonna just.
Uh-oh.
Man down, man down. Come on, Doc, man down. We need you to save. We need you to save him. Man down, man down.
Oh my goodness. Y'all didn't know you were tuning in for the comedy hour.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
The whole MD thing's
Okay.
a fake. It's the comedy show tonight.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's been a long time, everybody. Welcome to Girl Talk episode 9. You have Staci here. It's been a long time coming. A lot of things have happened in the world since we have gone live with Girl Talk. I have a wonderful young man here, Dr. Michael Harris. Dr. Richard Harris.
Sounds like Michael.
Everything's gone wrong today. But we can only go up from here. Anyway, I'm sorry. We have Dr. Richard Harris here. He's going to be able to introduce himself. We'll wait a few more seconds to let other people join the live feed. If you're joining in on Facebook, there might be a slight delay. Thank you. We hope you still stay tuned. If you're on Instagram, thank you for joining. Hey, y'all. Hey, Randall. This is our first time in the Girl Talk University studios. So, yay.
It's a quite nice studio.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks for
Harris.
having me.
Thank you. So we'll wait a few more seconds. Once again, this is Staci and Dr. Harris here. Girl Talk episode 9, Black Women in Wellness. Hey, cuz. Woo. That was funny.
Yep.
Maybe the speaker was like real loud and it kind of just made it so
Or the phone was like, screw this COVID.
Right.
Screw all
Screw
these
Corona.
riots. I'm out.
Now, first of all, let's just get right to it. First of all, Doc,
Yes.
how you been feeling? Because I mean, of course, I know you've been getting a lot of thank yous the past couple of months, so let me say that too. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you for being on the front line, saving lives. Am I okay being right here next to you?
I get tested.
Do I need to go? You get tested for what?
COVID. And STDs.
Okay, wonderful,
you gotta
wonderful.
Stay safe out there.
That is the first lesson that Dr. Harris is giving us. Get tested. You should know your status, not just for STDs, but for COVID-19. How has it been?
The last couple of days have been crazy.
Why?
I made a post 5 days ago that was like, the overall mortality rate's 0.2%. Texas has plenty of hospital capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm eating crow right now. The things went crazy the last 5 days. Absolutely crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay, so first of all, we need to talk more about where you work and how you got into this. Where are you currently working right now?
So currently I'm all over the place. I do part-time work at Memorial Hermann, but I have my own online health and wellness business. I have other businesses as well, so I'm bouncing all around the city.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. What made you want to be a doctor? Are you revisiting that now?
Yes. No, it was a book, actually, Gifted Hands
Oh.
by Ben Carson.
Oh.
That was
it was a good book.
That was a good book.
I don't know if I agree with the man now. But it was a good book.
His political stuff now, he's out there. But he was a very gifted neurosurgeon. I read that book and I thought, this is so cool. This is what I want to be.
Okay. And what type of medicine do you practice? Or what's your field, your specialty?
So, board certified internal medicine. But I do more the holistic side. That's really what I'm interested in.
Okay.
Is how to get and stay healthy as opposed to just shoving more pills down people's throats.
So do you think your approach when you're diagnosing your patients or things like that, that you're kind of in your head straying away from the medicine, even though you know that they might feel better with it? Or like, what's your approach when you're...
Well, here's the thing about the medicines. Also being a pharmacist, I know how they actually work. And I know that most of them don't really work.
Yeah, this is a smart man. Pharmacist, podcaster, business owner, and doctor. Wow. And why don't they work? Is it just because it's supposed to cure your symptoms and not the actual illness itself most times?
That's a wonderful question.
My daddy taught me right.
Wonderful question. So the problem is that most people don't look at this at the macro and micro perspective. So I'll use statins, for example, right? These are drugs that most people are aware of. Most of us have family members, or some of us even in their 30s are on these medications.
And what is that, like over-the-counter
Cholesterol.
drugs? Oh, cholesterol.
No, it's cholesterol
okay,
medication.
Okay.
And so if you look at like the absolute risk reduction, the amount of people it's going to help, in studies it's 3 to 9%. That means 91% of people that take these medications will get zero benefit. Zero.
So how is it even legal?
So
I guess that's the legal side of me. It sounds like
right.
a ripoff.
So if you think about it, macro and micro, right? At the macro scale, if you're treating 100 million people and 9% benefit, that's 9 million people. That's a lot
true.
of people.
That's true.
But if I'm talking just me or you, and I'm telling you, you have a 91% chance that this medication does absolutely nothing for you, you're going to be like, doc, give me something.
Give me something else.
Give me something else. Give me something else. I'm not taking a 9% chance that I'm going to be the one that this works for. So, and that's
how many people even know
medication.
that though? Like, I mean, if I'm just a person coming in, and you tell me I have a high cholesterol, would you also give me that knowledge, being that you have that holistic kind of mindset, or is it just something that I need to research on my own? How would I know?
That's what I do. So I tell people high cholesterol is not a disease; it's a symptom. So you're using medication to treat a symptom instead of getting to the root cause. Most people with high cholesterol, it's because they have high inflammation or because they're insulin resistant. Insulin resistance is the mechanism for diabetes. We know diabetes, especially in our community, is everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere.
Right. I was going to get to that. I'm wondering, Girl Talk is this platform where we're trying to build positive self-image among girls and women at all costs on all fronts.
Right.
So business fronts, legal fronts, medical fronts. We just want women and girls to feel positive and, feel good about themselves inside and out.
Right.
There's been a lot of talk about Black girls and Black women and how they're treated in terms of their medical care. So just first to start, what have you seen when it comes to girls and women that are your patients? Do you see any trends or any commonalities or something that you want to share?
Yeah, a lot of it is subjective, but there's also data that backs this up. So a lot of Black women feel like they're not really heard when they go into the doctor, that their concerns aren't taken seriously, and that they're minimized. And so because of that, then they don't want to continue going to the physician after that, and that's when problems pile up.
Right.
There's also disparities in the quality of care that you can get in a poor community versus that you can get somewhere that's got a top-notch hospital, right? And so there are these social determinants of health that matter, but there's also some inequity in the treatment, and there's also studies that show that racism has a profound effect on health.
For sure.
Because of the stress.
For sure.
Because of the stress that happens, and then you wear that chronic stress with you for a while, and we know that chronic stress is terrible for your health.
And it's funny because it's like you can tell your patient, are you stressed out? You stressed out, but can you say, is racism stressing you out? You know what I mean? So it seems like one of those sneaky things where it was like, I know you're stressed, but how can you pinpoint it? How can we pinpoint that in women and girls?
Right.
And how can we even fix it if we can pinpoint it?
Well, you can't be afraid to talk about it, right? You have to, as a physician, our job should be to make the environment safe and open for people to discuss whatever is on their minds. And so these things like racism or sexism or abuse, they do affect your health. And so we need to be able to provide spaces for people to talk about this and then get them to professionals who can help.
That's a good point. Back to what we were talking about originally. For those people that just joined, thank you. This is Staci and Dr. Richard Harris here. We're in Houston, Texas. Girl Talk episode 9, Black Women, Girls, and Wellness. We're talking Black women and health. So let's talk about COVID-19 again. Because I want to say that Black people have been at the forefront of this because people have said we're more likely to die from the disease. So we have more, we have harsher reactions, I guess, to the disease. Can you talk more about that in your experience? Have you even had a lot of patients that have tested positive for corona, and what has been your response to that?
Yeah, so for us, because Houston's such a diverse environment, we're seeing everybody, right? But we're a product of our environment. It's Houston. This is probably one of the most diverse cities in the world. All right, so we're seeing everybody. So we don't see where I am just a large African American population or Hispanic or whatever. But you are starting to see a lot of people test positive. 5,000 cases a day, right, is what the data is showing the last couple of days. But why is it worse for African Americans? This is a very in-depth question. Part of it is because statistically, we are the unhealthiest segment of the population.
But why?
There's a lot of factors that go into it. Part of it is government. What do like food stamps and stuff like that get you? Sodas, chips.
Whatever can stretch the most. You're trying to get the best bang for your buck as opposed to the healthiest.
Right. And we know that stuff is horrible for our health.
Because there have been times in my life where I've had public assistance, right? So I'm like, oh, I can get this healthy food, but I'm only getting 3 items. Right. When you have a family, luckily, I mean, I'm single, I don't have kids, but for people that have families and stuff, you're trying to get the best bang for your buck.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what can we do to curb that? I mean,
there has to be such change on so many levels. But you always start with stuff that's free, right? Stuff that doesn't cost you anything that can dramatically improve your health. One, fasting. Don't eat. That doesn't cost you anything not to eat.
Okay, do you tell your patients that? Because I know sometimes with fasting, and I see my old youth minister, Brother Garrett, joining. Hey, Brother Garrett, we're talking about fasting. I have Dr. Richard Harris here. He's a proponent of fasting.
Yep.
People always compare it to, like, doing something for a religious purpose. But it has more benefits than just religious purposes. So can you talk more about fasting?
I have a whole podcast that talks about fasting. But fasting, it can help lower your blood pressure, lower your blood sugars, help with body fat. And then there's the mental benefits, willpower. A lot of people nowadays say they don't have willpower, and that's because the system is designed for you not to have willpower. Most people don't even know that cell phone companies hire behavioral therapists to make you addicted to your cell phone.
That's right. I read something that said a text message gives you more endorphins or something than like having sex. Have you heard that?
Yeah, that's why people go for likes, right? Because it releases endorphins, it releases dopamine. It gets that feeling of, that social feeling of being wanted and included. That's a primal need.
Wow.
So they know this and they played on it, and there's a reason why everything is designed to draw your attention. And all these things designed to draw your attention most of the time are things that are unhealthy for you because keeping people sick is big business.
But like it's just hard to believe that people know that this will likely keep you sick, but we're getting paid, so it's crazy to me. But let's get back to fasting and women, right? So I myself, as well as a few other women, we talk about fasting and eating better and like intermittent fasting where we're eating from 12 to 6 only, but at a certain time, if you're used to eating or drinking at a certain point, if you don't fulfill that need, for me, I get headaches. I feel kind of like dizzy. You know what I'm saying? So if I want to fast, do I just move past that?
You need some fasting tools.
Tell me more, doctor. Tell me more.
Electrolytes. That's what it is.
All right, let me show you what I've been using lately. Tell me if this is good or not. Speaking of electrolytes.
Oh, we're getting props.
I have props. Everybody, this is Staci and Dr. Harris. We're here at episode 9 of Girl Talk. We're talking Black women and wellness. He is telling us a little bit about fasting.
That's actually not a bad product.
Not
a bad product.
It's not the best?
It's not the best. But
please.
Replay.
Tell me the best.
Replay electrolytes.
For those people that can't see what I have, this is liquid IV. He's telling me the reason why I feel sick or have headaches when I'm trying to fast is because my body needs more electrolytes.
Absolutely.
So tell me more about this Replay.
Replay is like getting an IV. You mix a scoop in water. It's the same as getting an IV.
So not that.
No, I mean this that's a good product.
Okay.
Right? That's a good product.
Where can we find Replay?
Amazon. Yeah, I have truckloads of it.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to fast and I start feeling these symptoms, if I take a scoop of Replay, am I cheating on the fast? Or?
No, because it doesn't use sugar like Gatorade to bring the electrolytes into the cells. It uses an amino acid, so it's not going to spike sugar levels or anything like that. And people always think that everything is a zero-sum game. Right? It's either all or nothing. That's not how it works. Is taking a fast with electrolytes and bone broth better than not fasting? Yes. Right? So do what you can with what you need.
Yeah, I actually enjoy fasting, but the part that I don't... Hey, Mom. But the part that I don't like is there's the headaches. And sometimes my friends will say, I got the shakes, and they feel like crazy or, irritable. Just like some of my friends today, we were working so much today that we just weren't eating. It was like we were fasting by default. And it's like, why are we so irritated? Like, why are we so angry? So this is really good stuff. Tell me about bone broth.
I love bone broth.
Like soup?
Yeah, so I make it at home. If you're buying it, Kettle and Fire is the best brand.
I hope you guys are taking notes, okay? Dr. Harris is giving us gems. So, Kettle
on Fire.
Kettle on Fire and Replay. Okay.
Replay. And then make the bone broth at home. So I take old chicken bones, ribs, that kind of stuff, throw it in with some water, 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar, rosemary, turmeric. You can't taste it, but it's in a big pot. It's in a big pot.
Okay.
Yeah, then you simmer it for 24 hours.
Okay.
I got 2 huge bowls of it in my fridge right now.
Okay. So when you're fasting, how long do you do it? You do 24-hour fast?
So I do daily 16-8. So I eat from about 1 to 8 or 9 every day, and then fast the rest of the time. And then on Sundays, for religious reasons mainly, I'll fast for 24 to 36 hours.
Tell me about your, if you don't mind, about your religious reasons.
I just felt like it's when I studied the Bible. I actually have a podcast called The Bible's Prescription for Health, and when I looked at it, fasting is mentioned all throughout the Bible.
It is.
Like fasting, meditation, prayer. These things are mentioned from beginning to end.
So much stuff that goes on, and you have to have this super strong mind in order to withstand everything that's coming at us every day. Social media, the government, this, that, institutional racism, like so, especially as a black woman, right? I mean, I know black men, you guys have your woes, but I can speak from experience. It's a lot, a lot of internal pressure, external pressure. So you're right, meditation and fasting is definitely necessary. I find myself leaning towards that when I'm feeling stressed out. But how can you guide someone like me where fasting is not something I do constantly? It's kind of sporadic.
Yeah.
How can you coach someone like me or Randall who I see online or my friend Jamila or Tia? We want to get to the point where it's a part of our routine.
Right.
How can we even make it so that people know it's important? Because we don't want people to think that, oh, you're just trying a new diet. You know, she'll get over it. We want this to, if it has this much benefits health-wise, we want to promote it. So, like, what can we do to make that transition, to make it, like a regular part of our lives?
Like I tell people all the time, start slow. Right? So let's use an example. Let's say I told you a year from now, I can grow your money by 40%. You're going to be like, yes, please, sign me up. Right? I'm saying, okay, now I'm going to do 1% better every single day. And if you add that up at the end of the year, because of the principle of compounding, you'll be 40% better at the end of the year. And that's how you need to approach all these lifestyle things. The problem with humans, again, zero-sum game. They think they have to jump into the deep end without knowing how to swim.
You're right.
But that's not how you start things. You start, what do you do before you walk? You crawl.
That's right.
Or what do you do before you talk? You babble.
It's just, I got to push back, though, because it just seems hard. Like I can imagine now, right? After this podcast, I feel fired up already. We're not done yet, but I feel fired up. So tomorrow, I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to say, man, woo, I got to fast. What do I do with all that mental garbage or mental stuff where it's like, there's snacks right there.
Right.
It's tea right there.
Yeah.
It's this right there, Staci. I mean, it's fruit. Go ahead and eat fruit, And you have all these, I won't say triggers, but these temptations, right? Which are going to outweigh probably stronger than this conversation. Right. Like how do we attack that?
That's a very good point. And that's where you have to be intentional, not perfect. And you have to, so one of the guides I have is called Building Healthy Habits. And it goes into how do you change what you want to change, and then how do you cement what you want to cement. And one of the things I tell people is, if you have a weakness, if you have a trigger, get it out of your sight. Because we all think that we're always going to be strong all the time, which is a mistake. In moments of strength, you prepare for moments of weakness.
Amen.
Because we all have moments of weakness.
Are you a preacher too? Go ahead.
Grandson of a preacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I tell people. When you're thinking about what you're going to do, plan. Right? You wouldn't just say, okay, I'm going to start a business. Okay, I put up a website, and that's it. I'm done. No, you plan meticulously. You plan out scenarios. You draft a plan. You go to the bank. Like there are steps that you take to get there.
I'm gonna push back again. Somebody said they like that. You're getting a lot of thumbs up, Dr. Harris. This is Staci and Dr. Richard Harris. We're here, Girl Talk University, episode 9, Black Women, Girls, and Wellness. Man, you're giving us a lot of gems today. How do we do all of this in terms of planning? Not just for our health, but for everything. Because I'll speak from my own experience, right? As a Black woman, I've noticed that, and this is not everybody, but as a race, sometimes it seems like we are very survival based and not planned based. It's like, hell, if I got $20, this gonna buy 1, 2, 3 something to eat. It's gonna give me enough gas for tomorrow. I'm not even worried about tomorrow. I'm not even worried about next week because I'm trying to make it to get in my bed today, right? So how do we get our people, our women, our girls, everybody out of this survivalistic, like, live in the now? How do we change that mind frame to plan a week in advance or plan a month in advance, right? How do we change that mindset?
First of all, most people keep their goals solely up here, right? They don't put it out in the ether, in the air. You need people to help hold you accountable because a lot of times we try to do this alone. Now, the data is very clear that if you just tell someone that, hey, this is my goal, will you help me? People are going to say yes. No one's going to say no to that.
No, forget your goals.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah, it's like, screw you. I don't care about you. No one's going to say that. They're going to say, sure. Like, what do you want me to do? What do you need help with? That's one thing. Put it out there on social media. Use social media for good.
Right. That's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. This is a good use of social media. Putting your goals out there is a good use of social media. So then if you're out and someone says, hey, didn't you say that you wanted to do this? Now you have an accountability partner.
It's true. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I notice I post on social media for that so I can hold myself accountable. And the people that are looking at my page can hold me accountable too. You're right. But it's just something I noticed where growing up, right, I had 2 amazing parents. My mom and dad were great. But every day, it would be like, so what do you want to eat today?
Right.
Okay, you want to go to Taco Bell? You want to go to Pizza Hut? You want to go to McDonald's? And now, I have really tried in my 20s and now my early 30s to be healthier, to make healthy choices. But that's like putting back 20 years of habits, 20 years of what I saw. So when I'm triggered, when I'm sad, angry, or I find myself in desperation, it's kind of like, not without even thinking, I'm just resorting back to, I'm just going to go get,
Right.
So it's interesting. I mean, you're right. Nothing happens overnight, but I know that other women have that same sentiment where it's like, I'm just trying to do this now. All that stuff you're talking, Dr. Harris, sound good, but it doesn't apply to me. So I'm just wondering how we can make that connection. So these goals seem attainable for women, and they don't seem like so far removed.
Then will never come if you don't start now.
Yeah. You're right. He is speaking some gems. Hey, Brendan. Hey, Dr. Cologne. Hey, Tamoya. Hey, Latoya. This is Staci and Dr. Harris, episode 9 of Girl Talk. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk more about your experience with your Black women patients and about the trends that you've seen. Like what? Hey, friend.
Hi.
Can you come back, Piper?
I don't know.
It's okay. Tomorrow.
Basura.
Tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Mañana.
So we had a little guest here. Shout out to the people at City Center for looking out for us. Let's talk back to some of your patients. Are there some themes that you see in terms of not just women but Black girls that are like startling to you, that are worth sharing, so that people like me, attorneys and teachers and parents, can kind of be on alert?
I think the biggest thing that I see is that there's a celebration of an unhealthy culture. A lot of the times that we, especially in the Black community, the things that we celebrate are things that are actually bringing us our downfall.
Like what?
Like, say you're eating healthy, right? And you go around some friends, they're going to be like, what are you eating that crap for? Why are you eating that rabbit food?
You're right. Because I've been vegetarian, pescatarian, on and off for about 5 years. I'm on the off right now, but I've been like that. And I go home, and I feel like it's because food is how we normally celebrate.
Correct.
Because way back in the day, that's the only way we could celebrate, right? So I think, and I wonder why, maybe you know the answer. it's almost like they're offended
Right.
when you decide not to partake in the celebration,
Right.
or maybe like take away from the tradition. That's what I think
Mhm.
it is. It's not like we want you to be healthy, sis, but this is our tradition and
Right.
you're not participating in it. I'm offended. How do we?
It's also partially that. It's also whenever you're trying to better yourself, you're gonna make people uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
when people are uncomfortable,
Why?
they're gonna lash out.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna say things they don't mean
Mm-hmm.
because it's they feel it on the inside and they're like, I got to get this out. And the easiest way to get that out is to say something negative about somebody else
Mm.
instead of dealing with it on the inside and being like, you know what, good for them.
Mm.
Right? They're trying to do better. Maybe that's not for me, but good for them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the way people treat you is a reflection of them, not you.
Right.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
And then we take that as, then we get sad and down because someone we care about said something about us and they're not
That's me.
supporting us. And then you just go through this cycle over and over
That's
again.
me. Help me, doc. Diagnose me. Help me. I am like so worried about, especially my family, because I love them, right? And I want to make them proud. I am so, to my detriment, worried about, and I feel like a lot of black women are worried about what people think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where that comes from? Because I feel like even, and we can start to transition to relationships, even down to relationship choices and the choices we make while we're in the relationships. It's like, we don't want to let people down. Where does that come from?
So it's actually a men and women thing. So men, when they're growing up, think about the games we play. They're all games of strength, of contests, of who's stronger, who's better, who's faster. But women, it's all about cooperative games. You play house together.
Right.
You strategize together. Right. And so for women, because of how the games we play as kids, it's harder for a woman to break away from the pack. Because that's how we were wired ever since we were kids. Right. To just fit in, don't make a noise, don't say anything bad about people, just be what the other people in the group think that we should be. So you have to break that at the child level and get women to realize that true cooperation is wanting everybody to be better. That's true cooperation.
Like
That's
if
the
it
whole
works for
nature
you,
of it.
good. You know, and celebrating that, even if
Right.
it's different. Yeah.
Even if it's different. Like, say you're pescatarian and I'm carnivore, right? That's cool. I'm going to help you be the best pescatarian you can be. I want you to help me be the best carnivore I can be. We've got each other's backs, even though we aren't on the same plan. But what we really want, the end goal, is the people you care about to be the best version of themselves.
And if you don't feel that way, then maybe you really don't care about them.
Right.
Is it that? Can I make that assumption? Or
Yeah. Yeah. Because would you ever treat someone you love like that? Do you want someone you love not to be the best version of themselves?
No, but sometimes how we act doesn't give that message across.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But it's usually because of that uncomfortableness.
Yeah. It's because of your own insecurities kind of coming out.
That manifests. But really, your true belief is you want that person to do well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we were talking some good stuff. Hey, Pretty Honey Bun. Hey, Carlito. We're here. We're having a great conversation about black women and wellness. Of course, we have about 10 minutes left. We got to talk about the juicy stuff. We have to talk about relationships, right? And I would say you're a healer, you know, in your profession. And I'm no doctor, but I feel like I want to heal my girls, my women, my men, everybody as well. So with that, a lot of people have told me things that they endure in their relationships and things like that. And I've noticed that with black women and girls, it's kind of like I have a badge of honor due to how much I can endure in a relationship. And it seems like, and this is not all the time, but it seems like men kind of agree with that too. Like this whole, let's see how down you are. Depending on how down you are, I'll stay with you. How much can you endure? Are you going to stay with me no matter what? Are you going to be ride or die, right? And I've noticed that a lot of women have caused themselves unnecessary stress, depression, sadness, anger. And it's like, just leave, sis. Like, just, or just change the situation. Or maybe not leave, stand up for yourself. Or demand something different. And that's just not the case all the time. And we are so strong as a people, and our black women are so strong. When it comes to relationships, that's just something I have seen over and over again. So I wonder, from your experience, have you seen, women or girls coming in these relationships How does it affect their health, their
Mm-hmm.
sexual health, their overall health? What's your take on that?
Yeah, relationships are very important to our overall health. The data shows that actually the worst thing for a human being is social isolation.
Mm-hmm.
The risk of bad things happening from social isolation are higher than smoking. Everyone knows how bad smoking is for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Social isolation is actually higher in
Wow.
studies. And because we're so hardwired to be social, people will stay in something that they know is bad for them rather than be alone. And that's because we're
Mm.
so uncomfortable having conversations with ourselves and being honest with our true nature that we'd rather stay with something what we know is not good for us than be by ourselves. And then also we think that people will change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he doesn't really mean that. Oh, she's just going through a
Yeah,
phase
we
right
just
now.
excuse this
Right.
behavior, but it's to the point where I feel like it could kill you. Right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
statistic, and don't kill me, doc. I don't know like the actual source, but they say black married women live shorter lives than black single women and men in general.
Mm.
Like in terms of black people, black married women live the
Mm-hmm.
shortest lives.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read it, I was like, damn. But according to what I've seen just in my life, not
Mm-hmm.
anybody in particular, but just over my life, we are taking a lot of stuff. And you guys are too, but I just wonder, have you seen any of your patients or have you seen any trends in terms of women with stress or illnesses, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of related to the
Oh,
relationships
absolutely.
that they're.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you, I guess my question is, do you doctor different with black women or black girls? Like, or do you just give people like the same kind of.
I take everybody kind of where they are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because everybody's got a unique experience, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be able to understand. Like, I'll never know what it's like to be a black woman or a Hispanic man
Right.
or a white female,
Right.
right? So we all have different experiences. The main thing is you actually have to really listen,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to be able to try to understand where the person is coming from. So in psychology, there's something called the self authoring mind, which is
Right.
basically where you see everything through your own lens. And so when someone's talking to you, you're like, "Oh, that's stupid. Why would they think that?" Because you're putting your
Your view.
experiences into that person.
Mm-hmm.
When really what we need is a self-transforming mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you're able to literally take off your lens, put on their lens and say, "Oh, I understand why you did this.
Mm-hmm.
I can see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that and see if we can find a better way."
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I wonder. Have you seen any physical signs of like abuse or just
Mm-hmm.
bad relationships that women and girls have like gone through, and have you advised them to
Mm-hmm.
kind of get out of these relationships, or you kind of just treat the.
You have,
Yeah.
yeah, I have, I definitely have. Especially when I was working a lot more in the hospital, you'd see things, and then in that situation, of course, you have to call, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see something, you strongly suspect someone's being abused. But a lot of the times, you'd see these people over and over again. They just continue to go back to the abuser because they don't press charges,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or they don't want to testify. And then sometimes you'll see that it's not physical abuse, it's verbal
Oh
abuse.
yeah, which verbal abuse is usually a lot worse. I won't say worse; they're both bad. But
Hmm.
you're right. You're right.
And you can tell this person's been verbally abused, and you can try to get them help, but it's very hard
Mm-hmm.
because another human being cannot change another human being.
Mm-hmm.
That change comes from God and it comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
People have to have a enough is enough, literally end of the road moment
Mm-hmm.
in order to change through something serious like that.
It's nothing you can say or I can say to kind of get them to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
You can help them once they get there, right? But that person needs to be the honest of their own change. They need to want to change
Mm-hmm.
and seriously want to change to be able to follow through.
That's real. So I hope you guys are still listening. We're talking some good stuff. We're here, episode 9 of Girl Talk. I'm here with Dr. Richard Harris. Where can people find you if they want to come to you and have you be their primary care physician?
Yeah, so you can find me on all social media, Instagram at drharrismd. Same thing with LinkedIn, Facebook. My business is called Great Health and Wellness, and that's where I'm more of a holistic minded physician. I'm trying to get people off meds. My whole goal, I tell people is to empower individuals to take control of their health, to live a life full of joy. Because that's what we're really meant to be.
I agree.
But health is also mental and physical. So there are some techniques I do work on the mind with, but if there's someone who needs a little bit more help with that, then I'll refer them either to like a psychologist or a life coach or something like that to really get them the help they need to push forward.
Okay, thank you. The last thing I want to kind of talk about, if you had a magic wand, right, and there were 3 wishes or 3 things you could do or say to girls and women in terms of bettering their health, based on what you've seen, what would it be? Like these 3 things. Y'all need to do this, this, and this, or stop doing this, this, and this. What are the 3 things you want us to know?
Number 1, really love yourself.
Did y'all hear that? Did everybody hear that? Okay, we're going to replay it 10 more times so you guys can hear that.
Love yourself. Self-care. Women are so hardwired to be caregivers that they sacrifice so much to take care of everyone in their lives that they're just burnt down. But I tell people, if you don't know how to swim and you jump in the water and try to save someone, you're both going to drown.
Right.
Right? So if you're burnt out, what quality level of care are you really giving people?
Yeah.
You think you're doing your best, but really it could be better if you were prioritizing your own self-love and your own self-care. And then kids are sponges. They see everything.
Absolutely.
So if they don't see you taking care of yourself and prioritizing your own self-care, then they're not going to learn that that's important.
You might want to speak to what you mean by self-care, because due to what you just said, a lot of us don't know what we like and don't know what it even looks like to take care of ourselves. Like for me, self-care is I'm going to wake up late a little bit, or I guess I'll get my nails done. But it's still like I carry that guilt, like, oh my God, I'm doing something for myself. And like a lot of my friends and family, they're like, I'm not buying, I need to buy myself something, but I'm not. It's like, I don't know why this self-care has this guilt attached to it a lot of times for women, but what does it look like to take care of yourself?
Really, it's about making sure that you're centered, about making sure that your goals and actions are aligned, right? Because if you're walking into your purpose, you'll never feel like something that you're doing on the side is out of line, right? Your priorities are never in conflict. So if you're walking your purpose and you want a distraction, that's perfectly okay, because we need that. We're humans, right? And part of self-care is knowing when to stick to the line and when to deviate, right? And it's honestly having conflict with yourself. A lot of times
I have a lot of conflict with myself. I do. I'm sorry. I do. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I feel like it's good. It's
conflict is not a bad thing. A lot of times, especially women, are afraid of conflict. But studies show, like in business, you need some conflict for that business to grow.
Because people are thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you generate the best ideas, is through a period of healthy discussion and disagreement. Because it makes you think outside of what your own lens and your own lane is.
It's true. It's good. What about the other 2 things? Loving yourself. What else?
Loving others. And I mean, this is simple. It's in the Bible, right? But a lot of people are so wrapped up in their own little world that they forget that we're primarily here, especially if you're a Christian, is to love God and to help others. That's why we're here. He created each of us with a purpose to help other people.
Help other people, right.
And one of the things I recommend to people that anybody could do tomorrow to improve their health is have a gratitude practice.
Yeah, I stopped writing in my gratitude book over there. So that pink book is over there. Yeah,
that's incredible. Gratitude and journaling. That's huge. The reason for that is humans have a negativity bias.
Right.
So what that means is we remember the negative things much more strongly than the positive things.
I could tell you 100 compliments. I tell you one bad thing, you're gonna harp on the bad thing.
You'll remember the bad thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's why they say, okay, lead with the good news first, so you butter someone up, then hit them with the bad news, so that they don't fall as far, right?
That's true.
But that's not necessarily how you should do it. But if you're in your own life, you need to think about the positive things, because number one, if you think positive thoughts, you'll start to think more positive thoughts.
Right.
That's how your mind works. And
you'll realize everything is kind of working in your favor, even if it's negative. It's not a negative because it's supposed to happen, sort of thing. That's good.
And the third thing is adopt a growth mindset. instead of saying, why did this happen to me, say, what can I learn from this?
Tell me more.
So let's.
Because I've been trying to have the growth mindset a lot. Okay, I've been trying to. If I'm gonna be honest, like the past month, I'll say has been really great, but it's also been a lot of. Sorry, aunt. Sorry, mom. It's been a lot of shit that's happened. A lot of stuff that's happened, right? And I've tried to have this growth mindset, but sometimes it's like, how much growing can I do? You know? Right. And I think that's why a lot of women and girls, it's like, when they feel that, I don't know what to do, it's kind of, they start going to these other behaviors because they don't know what to do with that anguish or that feeling where you're just mad as hell or you're sad or you're, and you have these behaviors you've been doing, but you're trying to adopt this growth mindset. But sometimes you don't want to hear that, you know? So it's like, is there something that we can go to, like as a go-to? I mean, I know meditation, of course. Right. I know breathing, of course. That's important. But what is this quick fix or this quick tool that I can grab onto and that women can grab onto so that when they are in these periods, they don't fall?
Or exercise. Yeah. You know, there's a quick 7-minute exercise that you can do that's all body weight, right? And that also relieves some of that tension and stress. My thing when I was a kid, when I got upset, I got a punching bag. I just hit it because you can relieve that tension. People think that all anger is bad, and that's not the case.
You hear that?
It's okay to be angry. That's a normal human emotion. It's what you do with that anger that makes it good or bad.
That's my problem. My problem has been I've been trying to be so freaking positive. When I have this anger that's warranted, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I kind of feel guilty for feeling angry.
Right. But that's a normal human emotion.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can't stop normal human emotions. Right? And then going back to that growth mindset, it's not always that you need to grow or change. It's more of how are you looking at the problem. Einstein said the most important part about the problem is how you design the problem. And that's true. So that's what the growth mindset really is about. It's not always about trying to change yourself or be better. It's more about how am I looking at this? How am I thinking about this? You know, for me, for instance, one of my businesses, we were crushing it before COVID. We were crushing it. I mean, we almost had, I'm pretty blunt. I mean, we almost had about $100,000 in invoices out.
That's awesome.
In like 3 months before COVID. COVID hits, business done.
You mean your wellness business?
No, I have an educational consulting company.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so we're done. School's done, right? And so we, instead of thinking, oh man, this sucks. Like, I don't even know when schools are going to start up again. What are we going to do? The business is completely on hold for months now. Are we going to get back to where we were? Instead of thinking all those negative thoughts, I said, what can I do?
Right.
And then I looked at what can I do? I was like, okay, we want to get our program online. All right, I'm going to get on LinkedIn and see if I can find somebody to help me get our program online. And that's what I did. So instead of focusing on what I can't do, because I can't change that in that situation, I focus on what can I do. And I found something that I can do, and then I went with it.
Yeah. I'm hearing that a lot of our problems are kind of internal. They start from within. And when you fix the internal, the external will likely follow.
Exactly.
If you got your insides together.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Harris. This has been
welcome.
Fantastic. It doesn't even seem like we've been talking this long.
That's how you know it's a good conversation.
Hey, maybe you'll come back. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the people that joined live. If you just joined us, please, please, please replay it. We have Dr. Richard Harris here, Dr. Harris, MD, on all platforms. We have Staci here, Girl Talk University, episode 9. It's the first time we're in our own studio.
Luscious studio.
So thank you for joining us. You can find this on iTunes and SoundCloud tomorrow. And we're going to try to get on Spotify. All right? I'm going to end with some music. Peace.
Stay well. Be blessed. Take care of yourselves.
Exercise. Dr. Harris said he's going to get you if you don't work out.
Love the Lord and love yourself.
If you don't start fasting, he going to come find you.
That's right. I'm pulling up at all the drive-thrus.
Can you be my doctor?
Yeah.
What I got to do? I got some insurance. I'm going to switch. All right, guys. If you end, you'll be able to.